Hi, folks. I understand the hobbits have been through quite an ordeal of late. You can see why they're the main characters. The otherworldly Balrog I've been battling in the meantime is indeed something of a tertiary entity. Nevertheless, dang. As I said, it's high-hanging fruit month, which means, while it means all the unsavory things you're thinking of, it also means that I'm not subject to the rules of Coattail Clickbait Month, but I can still apply them. I can still clickbait on a coattail should I choose to, and I'm choosing old ones this month, sometimes dead ones. As for high-hanging fruit in the categorical sense, that kind of necessarily means taking the people I like, the celebrities I've listened to and even fawned over the most, and doing to them what I do with the people on the internet whom I don't like on account of the stupid shit they've said. In the spirit of addressing stupid shit said for its own sake, hopefully divorced from any favoritism. It's a good thing the video title has already revealed who I'm talking about. Let's proceed.
You know, these clickbait things, there could have been a word in that title that they know people like you love to see.
Permit me to introduce myself. I am 11. You are the home that's been calling me back to you?
Oh, she got your balls in a jar. Mm-hmm. That's very triggering.
That triggers you?
It's problematic.
My wife wants me to keep my junk.
Your wife fucking hates you.
But I would like to keep my junk.
People are so tribal.
Personally, I've never caught a bad dick.
Now we're doubling down on your dick pics.
I just think you need to calm down a little bit.
You're not a prepper, right?
Yeah, I'm a prepper, but
a little bit, slightly.
Not in that parent.
Alex Jones sort of way.
No, not that. I'm not that bananas. I think just being prepared and understanding that eventually there'd be an interruption and.
Don't mind the puppets. It's an Article 13 thing. I hope it works.
We have moved from that patriarchal mindset into a matriarchal mindset. And I think you can talk to some of the woo-woos and they'll tell you there's like a cycle. I think it's a 10,000 year cycle.
You might be thinking of days there instead of years. When's the fucking album out?
Which is very, the patriarchal, warring, protective, masculine mindset. Now we've shifted now, where it's not that survival mode as much anymore as it has been over the last thousands of years, and it's moved into a more matriarchal mindset. This is according to the woo-woos. This is, this might, again, tinfoil hat talk.
Yes, that's what the mushroom said. I mean the lobster. I don't know what I mean. Apparently, we've been patriarchal for about 10,000 years, and that's why it's all gone horribly wrong there. And now we have all this mad shit, like instantaneous global communication, and the whole fucking miracle of science that let that happen. That's the whimper. You see, that's patriarchy dying. Like the mushroom said, 10,000 years ago, we apparently lived in paradise instead of patriarchy. It's this ongoing cycle between paradise and its etymological and philosophical opposite, patriarchy. I mean, that sounds biased. That does sound a little bit biased against any gender that might be tarred with the patri brush. It seems painted in favour of the fairer sex. The concave sex, if you prefer. But the thing is, no one's ever really explained in any sufficient detail what it was like before 8000 BC in terms of how exactly it was less patriarchal or more matriarchal, any more so than it ever has been since or before. And don't give me that shit about the orgiastic moon sex part of the Soned Ape theory. That's not a model for 10,000 years of prosperity. It's a model for chaotic extinction in 3 generations or less. I think in reality, 10,000 years ago, 15,000 years ago, 5,000 years ago, 100,000 years ago and also today. Pick any time in our species' history, and you'll likely find women and men doing much the same thing, by and large. The women are strengthening the inner core of the species, while the men are pushing the outer boundaries of the species. And I mean by and large, hashtag not all, blah blah. I made a video once demonstrating that patriarchy and gynocentrism are not incompatible models. Moreover, they are necessary elements of the same model. Go watch that video for context. Sorry if it freezes at 3:46. I don't know why. Just skip ahead to 3:48 and you'll get the general gist. The general gist being, you can call this gynocentrism and you can simultaneously call it patriarchy. And you've not necessarily contradicted yourself by doing it. So you can look at this trend of men push the boundaries, women strengthen the core, and you can call it patriarchy, if you absolutely insist. But even giving you that, it's less accurate to say we've been patriarchal for 10,000 years, and more accurate to say we've been that way for all of human history. Except maybe for the last 100 years, in which we're finally, for the first time in history, perhaps, entering what looks like it might be a matriarchal period. Which, apart from anything else, doesn't even make sense metaphorically. Does it? You start with a period of patriarchy, then develop to a period of matriarchy? That's not actually how it works for, like, any mammal species. On the contrary, it's the other way around. You spend your first few years under the charge of your mother and other females, and then as you transition to adulthood, at some point you spend a period under charge of your father and other males. If you're fortunate enough to live in a species with paternal males, which we are, incidentally, and have been for hundreds of millennia at least. So, perhaps instead of saying we've been patriarchal for all of human history, it would make as much, if not more, sense to say we've been gynocentric for all of human history. And this doesn't rule out the possibility of a significant change in the future, such as being born, metaphorically speaking. That's a good example of transitioning from your mother to a world with other people in it. Oh! So even if we're just talking woo, then the woo that would make sense would be that our species spent its infancy in its mother's arms. And that includes the last 10,000 years. Even the wars, yes. The bronze ones, the iron ones, even the stone ones, the turf ones, the religious ones. All the senseless sadism. Maybe all that happened while our species was still suckling on Mother Nature's proverbial teat. And maybe we're still in that age. Maybe flying to the moon was also a feat achieved in this matriarchal infancy. And we won't really enter the patriarchal age until we've harnessed the power of galaxies, built a Dyson sphere around an entire quasar. Who knows? But if we want to be accurate with our poetry, our woo, if you will, or at least recognizably reflective of the human condition, then it would be a bit silly to paint us as an entity that spends its first few burgeoning years in its father's care, and only later in adolescence does it go on to learn from its mother. Or indeed one that cycles between the two in cosmically regular periods. Like, I don't know of any mammal species with that property, or any vertebrate, or any organism since the age of the dinosaurs, now I think about it, but hey, it's not my field.
So this could be just everything that's going on in the last, 10 years, 15 years. Could be that last, not last dying gasp, but definitely like a struggle for the old dogs.
The old dogs that have been keeping us alive against all the odds for thousands of years. Those old dogs. It's interesting of you to use dogs as the derogatory term there. Maybe it'll become ironic later on, or on the second watch.
Within the next 20 or 30 years, we're going to have a real Real problem with people not dying. Like, Grandpa.
Not with the current administration.
Around,
I think they're going to be all right with that. I hate that Trump supporter. What if I am completely wrong about all of it? Fuck them.
You think so, man? That motherfucker, he's so egomaniacal. Don't you think he'll be shooting stem cells into himself and try to keep himself alive forever?
Yeah, but he's going to send everybody else off to go fight for the materials that go into those shots.
Like Planned Parenthood does. He's going to do that thing that they already do. or do you have some kind of embryo slave trade Space Force type thing in mind?
Only bodies are not used to sitting around doing nothing.
Get up, go do.
You're one of those dudes that has to get shit done.
Go eat, go walk, stay present, stay with these people to be there for this thing. Go do.
I'm getting shit done.
I don't abide by those rules.
You're either in my way, or you're going to help me, or you're going to get the fuck out of my way, but I'm getting shit done.
If I think like that, if I think I'm in your way, this is all going to work out better. We're all gonna get along. If you think like that on the road, like I am in your way, let me figure out how I can make sure that I'm getting where I'm going. I'm not gonna put myself out. I'm not just gonna pull over to the side of the road while you all drive by. I'm gonna get out of the way so that I make it convenient for you to get where you're going.
Yes, people should be courteous to each other, especially at 70 miles an hour. I'd never looked at it that way before. I mean, there are still going to be crimes and accidents and emergency services and many situations in which you do need to get in or out of the way as directed. Turns out we're going to need a highway code and shit, but still, yes.
If the experience isn't working,
right,
I'll shift gears.
Exactly. Fluid morality, subjective and selective principles. We all do it from time to time, but we have trouble admitting it because it comes across as remarkably similar to hypocrisy.
Be there for this thing. That's far more important. And, also as courtesy, because maybe the person behind you would like to be that person who's pulling this all out, and now your shit's in their way.
So people hold up fucking iPads. Those 12-inch iPads. I saw some dude at the Laugh Factory the other day had a fucking iPad.
Have you ever been to a TV studio? It's weird. They have these really interesting people there sat and talking to each other, and sometimes there's music and dancing and amazing visuals going on. And yet, there's a bunch of people in the studio looking at it through this little screen. And I'm like, why? Why are you looking at everything through a camera? Just be there. Just enjoy the event. Why don't you? And they're like, this is a TV studio. We're here to broadcast and record this event so that more people can enjoy it. And I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. Hang on, why is there a camera recording me? What's the point in that, eh? It's so shallow. Why don't I just say these words to no one? Throw my thoughts into the foaming quicksand of history, never to be seen again. I mean, die. You've forgotten what it's like to be nobody. Sensei.
On the height and fury of social justice warrior online activism.
Yes, that thing. Incidentally, is that another symptom of the howling death knell of the patriarchy? Or is that part of the pure and righteous matriarchy that's coming to conquer the world with love and friendship, whether anyone likes it or not?
How do you feel about transracial people?
Meteor.
We need a meteor?
All of you. I need a meteor for all of you. Everybody.
But it won't affect everybody equally, will it?
Did you see that meteor almost hit him? Her! Okay, see that meteor almost hit her?
So you get it, but you're not quite there. And that is why, by the time the meteor arrives, we'll all have regressed to spider monkeys and there'll be nothing left to save. But still, all those old dogs need to stop whining and get the fuck under the steamroller. There's nothing to worry about.
I'm an avocado. I relate to avocados. So as my sexuality, I relate to an avocado. So and don't.
I think you're allowed to identify as an avocado now.
Okay, so that thing, just there's again we need a meteor.
Eschatology, or at least shall we say, interventionist eschatology, is very often the product of a guilty mind. Don't you know? those who wish to save the world are, ironically, the most likely to destroy it. I am also not a fan of this social justice, sex identity politics thing currently running amok in almost everyone's society. And if I found myself fundamentally and undeniably on that team, if I found myself trapped on that team, unable to breathe a word against it for fear of my career and my future, then I too would probably be bereft of any solution other than some kind of meteoric Armageddon. Just end it. End it, Lord. I can't take the guilt. But if and when you finally get over this dogmatic ideology that tells you human males are responsible for everything bad, then maybe the fog of guilt will fade. And in the clearing, you'll start to see other solutions. Non-apocalyptic solutions, such as maybe quit being such a bitch.
I think if you're going to do something like that, it would have to be spontaneous combustion from a percentage of the globe across the board. No,
Just burst into flames.
Yeah,
that's a real thing. 5%
of the population spontaneously combusting at the same time across the globe, in front of people, and no explanation.
No explanation.
Now we're going to talk.
I don't think that's enough.
And it's funny because those very people in the States that would marginalize Muslims around the world and denounce them for their archaic views, they're demonstrating the same exact archaic views.
Yeah, let's look at the world. Where do we hit it? I'm looking at China, bro. I feel like they could take the hit. I feel like they need a solution anyway. They got a real problem. There's 1 billion people over there.
Let's play marry, fuck, kill. Okay, USA, North Korea, Saudi Arabia. Marry, fuck, kill. I would marry the USA, fuck North Korea, and nuke Saudi Arabia. What was it? Who cares? If you blow it in from the west, like at a really acute angle, like right in the basement of one of their huge towers at 91 degrees, then the nuclear debris will scatter all over China and all those useless mountains in between. I like that. One strike, obliterate one giant crater with Mecca in the center. And if the angle's just right, that giant black cube thing will go flying off and land in Tiananmen Square. We have fun.
So you're saying it has to be a populated area?
Uh-huh. Yeah, but maybe like weird. Like maybe Yulin, like right where they eat the dogs.
Right where they eat the dogs.
Maybe we go to the dog festival. And then like everybody goes, hey man, maybe you shouldn't eat dogs. God decided to hurl a meteor at all those assholes that are killing people's pets.
You know, in India, well, in many sort of Hindu cultures, cows are people's pets. Well, more than pets, really, like sacred pets or something. Sacred as opposed to sacrificed. Yeah, we in the West eat cows by the biosphere-sized portion, and it's no surprise that Hindus go, why the fuck would you eat those? But it's a simple enough answer. Herbivores like cows and sheep, good to eat for us. Scavenging omnivores like pigs and dogs and us, usually good to eat. Well, not us, but other scavenging omnivores like pigs and dogs, usually good to eat, but sometimes a bit dodgy. Just don't eat cats. Cats are obligate carnivores, namely they must eat meat to live, i.e. they are technically higher on the food chain than you, human. They're about where the Petersons are, but that's apart from that. They're above us, most of it. That's not usually good for you, eating that. I can't think of an obligate carnivore I've ever seen on a menu. Can you? Alligator, maybe? Some kind of fish. I don't know. What was my point? Eating dogs is perhaps a sign of desperate times. Eating cats is a sign of apocalyptic times. Eating cows is a sign of... Well, they're not even cows anymore in most of the world's farms. They're not the strong, big-horned beasts they have in India that still vaguely relate to their Oroksy ancestors. Everywhere else, there's just these huge, fat, retarded lumps of beef. And we have filled every available space that isn't filled with chickens with those cows. I wouldn't eat an Indian cow if it was sacred to some Hindu people. And I wouldn't eat a wild wolf, even if it's sacred to no one. But I would eat one of those cowish abominations we perhaps misguidedly bred. And maybe I would eat a dachshund. We call them sausage dogs, wiener dogs, or whatever. No, yeah, I would totally eat one of those. Strip it down to its meat, roast it on a hot dog bun. It was like it was made for it. Especially if it was a dachshund fed on a vegan diet. Basically the vegan dog lover's equivalent of foie gras. It would probably taste like tofu. I don't think I made my point properly or in the right order. I'm pretty sure it's in there somewhere.
I took my dog to the groomer.
Did you really?
Oh yeah.
You took your dog out here?
Uh-huh.
Did you drive or do you fly?
I flew.
Okay. What's about to happen? What's happening is Maynard's going to do a Godfrey Elfwick. He's gonna pretend to be like one of those California it girls who can't travel on a plane without their tiny mutant dog in the cabin with them. Yes, so that is a thing that is allowed, and it still goes on. Maynard's sort of famous for his dry and rather trolly sense of humour, so we're going to humour him and react as though he's serious.
So she sits with you?
Yeah.
Now, do you have to make sure that the person next to you isn't gravely allergic to dogs?
Does who have to make sure?
You.
Fuck them. I am in your way. Fuck them. We're all gonna get along. Fuck them. Let me figure out how I can make sure that I fuck them.
I'm in two minds. Well, the rules are in two minds. You can't smoke any plant product on a plane, or even vaporize it entirely into your own lungs, and only into your own. It's not allowed. On the off chance that you might look like you're enjoying yourself. But you can bring a dog cage full of allergies and infections as your carry-on luggage on an international flight because it helps you relax.
No, fuck them. But you have to tell the airline, hey, I'm traveling with my emotional support dog because I'm very fragile.
I'm traveling with my emotional support dog because, in theory, perhaps this might have happened to someone that we might know. You're getting on an airline and they look at you're paying for a dog to go on the flight, right? I'm paying extra for the dog to go on the flight.
I'm just saying, if this is allowed, why the fuck are e-cigarettes banned across all airlines? Cigarettes? No. Cigars? No. Pipes? Absolutely not. But a poodle in a fucking tiara? Sure, bring it on board. The more the merrier. Is this another one of those things that the patriarchy is doing?
Sir, does your dog's thing fit under the seat in front of you? Does it fit? Yes, it's regulation. It's what you want under the seat in front of you. Great. Ooh, your other bag is too big, but that's my carry-on bag. Yeah, but now that you're bringing a dog on, that is your carry-on bag, and that bag you have doesn't fit under the seat in front of you.
I was expecting this to be a funny story, but it sounds like you're genuinely telling an actual, for real, boring-ass anecdote about how ridiculous it is that airlines have trouble coping with your addiction to your dog. When they could just do what they did with nicotine products and simply employ a no dogs rule. There are libraries that have a no dogs rule. There are schools that have a no dogs rule. There are Californian beaches that have a fucking no dogs rule. But an airtight, confined space balancing in the sky at 500 miles an hour. Well, why not have dogs on there? What could possibly go wrong? By the way, I have a therapy snake. I have 17 therapy snakes, and I need to travel with all of them. It will decrease my anxiety. Who gives a fuck if it increases the anxiety of another 100 or 2 people? Well, you know what I'm getting sick of? These motherfucking hypocrisies on these motherfucking planes. Look, I agree. I didn't think I would, but I came kicking and screaming to this agreement. Having a smoking section on a plane or in a restaurant or any closed public space is like having a peeing section in a pool. It does not solve the problem at all when you're dealing with fluid or gas mechanics. Other people should not have to swim in your piss. and other people should not have to inhale any amount of your drug of choice. It would be nice. It would be very nice when I'm on a long-ass plane journey if I could roll up a big fat blunt and just let it puff away. But it's obvious, aside from the illegality, that it would be extremely inconsiderate to those around me who have no intention of experiencing that drug, never mind any allergies anyone might have to it. I stand for the freedom to smoke just about anything, but if you're in an enclosed space with other people, it's not a freedom you can practice without infringing on the freedom of others. I get that. But exactly the same thing goes with dogs. Some people don't like their smell, some people don't like their unpredictable nature and noise, and some people don't like the allergies they have to dogs, which in an enclosed space for 7 hours will indeed present with symptoms. But this, mysteriously, has not led to any ban on bringing therapy dogs on airplanes. This is very much a California thing, by the way, for all those states and countries who've never heard of this. No idea what's going on.
She's small. Yeah.
What kind of dog is it?
Yorkie.
Oh, okay.
One of these days, I'm going to do a video, a coherent one, about the bizarre irony that people can see cuteness in this rather abominable institution of genetically deforming dogs. I don't love dogs. I'll say it. Most of them. Even the normal sort of mongrel mutt type ones. Most of them are a little bit skittish, and I don't enjoy that kind of company. But I respect that they're a product of nature. I don't have to love something to have enough respect for it to let it be as nature intended. Would you genetically engineer human beings to look like anime characters? With giant eyes and otherwise featureless faces and such massive heads that they can't walk properly. Would you genetically engineer humans to look mesmerizingly adorable, yet they cannot breathe or walk or think properly? Sure, a few people in the alt-right would absolutely do that, but in my opinion, it would be a cruel thing to do. And I think that's bad for any species, to be honest. Whether or not they can tell what's going on. I think all species deserve to evolve by merit, not by deliberate genetic selection, otherwise known as diversity. I'm way off track now. Let's crack on.
So you want me to put my dog in the overhead bin? No, it has to go into the seat in front of you. But you told me that carry-on bags go in the overhead bin. It's all this, like, red tape.
Do you know, I'm getting more and more convinced that you're not taking the piss and that this is just your Lenny Bruce phase, you know, except instead of bitching about your taxes, you're bitching about how inconvenient the world makes it for you to carry your emotional support animal on a plane. I suppose each to their own. I have to wonder if you're going to write a song about this. Where's the fucking album?
But is your dog an ESA? Is it a emotional support animal? It can be.
Dude, have you heard of diazepam? Fucking Valium. You've been around the psychotropic block a few times. You must know about Valium. It's not the best drug for inspiring musical or lyrical ideas, but it does a remarkable job of making you not give a shit about the anxiety or even the inconvenience of plane travel. You can get it prescribed by your doctor if you explain to them that you have flying anxiety. Yes, there is a risk with every drug, especially opioids, but it only applies to the person taking it. Your Valium comes in small pills that you take orally, unlike smoked products, and unlike the airborne allergens dogs produce. When you practice this freedom, there is a 0% chance it will infringe on the freedom of others, unless you start throwing Valium into another person's unprepared esophagus. Don't do that, is my advice regarding it. Again, I really hope this is just you being super sarcastic, made it. I know you're something of a wit in that department, so I'm going to keep gingerly balancing on the this might not be serious scale.
I can't fly without my dog.
There are many things I feed on, Maynard. Irony is one of them. Especially irony with this many layers of arid sarcasm and lyrical muddiness and artistic license and all the double-take second guessing of uncertainty that can only spiral us inevitably into a state of blowout. Or nirvana, if you will. It's my favorite flavor of irony. Speaking of one of those words, see you in the next episode. No more clues. No more words. And no more slacking. Get up and go do. And fuck right good in the by word.